Hello and welcome to I-24 News Sports Daily Magazine with all the latest scores and stories from around the world. It's Wednesday evening and we have lots of action ahead, and these are the headlines. Tonight, battle in the Champions League between Barcelona and Manchester City, who both look to bounce back from disappointing domestic losses and into the last 8. Racism in football, can it be eliminated? How the FAIR Network is developing a strategy and common policy to fight racism and xenophobia. Novak Djokovic survives a tough test from Alejandro Gonzalez, and world number 8 Jelena Jankovic cruised to victory in Indian Wells. And we take a trip around the world, from cycling in Italy to snowboarding in Switzerland and motocross in the Thai heat. Hello again, and thank you for joining us live from the Jaffa Port. 2 teams already booked their tickets to the Champions League quarterfinals last night. Atletico Madrid had won 15 of their last 16 European home matches, and the trend continued on Tuesday night as the Rojiblancos easily dominated AC Milan 4-1 at Vicente Calderón Stadium. The star of the first leg, Diego Costa, was ruthless once again, scoring in the 3rd minute to put his club ahead and again in the 85th minute to cap off the victory, sending Atletico to the last 8 for the first time in 17 years. But coach Diego Simeone says his Spanish forward still has room to improve.
I think he can continue improving. He is mentally and physically very strong. He has a lot of room to improve. His participation in the Spanish national team is going to help him improve even further as a football player, due to the different style of play. It will be good for him to adapt to this, and it will improve him even more. He can mark his own limits.
And in the second match of the night, reigning champions Bayern Munich put themselves in the position to repeat with a 1-1 draw against Arsenal, eliminating the Gunners in the last 16 for the second year straight through 3-1 on aggregate. The Bundesliga frontrunner strategy to maintain possession and limit Arsenal's chances paid off, even if they couldn't find the back of the goal.
This is how football goes. Sometimes you score 4, 5, or 6 goals, and sometimes you don't score at all. The most important thing we did was to control the game, and we didn't allow many chances. We did score 1 goal, and it could have been more, but it was good enough.
2 more matches are on the schedule for tonight. Barcelona and Manchester City, both coming off disappointing domestic losses over the weekend, look to bounce back at City and Manchester Stadium. Barcelona is tasked with defending a 2-0 lead they gained in the first leg, while Manchester, who was already eliminated from the FA Cup, are fighting to remain in the run for a title this season in the Champions League. And manager Vincent Kompany says not all hope is lost.
I guess that the message to everyone is that we have to believe, not just for ourselves, but also, we have probably more than 5,000 fans traveling tomorrow who still come here hoping that something might happen, witnessing something special. And that's what we believe in. That's what we have to believe in, It's our job to believe in this as well.
And Bayer Leverkusen has a mountain to climb at the Parc des Princes to overcome Paris Saint-Germain's 4-0 first-leg lead, a loss they suffered at home, and defeat that's never been accomplished in the history of the Champions League. And things aren't looking too good for Bayer, who've lost 8 out of their last 11 games and won only 2. Meanwhile, Paris Saint-Germain are on top of the French league, leading the pack by 8 points. But PSG manager Laurent Blanc says revenge can be a frightening motivator.
What we know is that we want to go as far as possible in this competition. When I say that we don't have much to fear for this game, I really think so. This is a team that lost 4-0, so they might want revenge. We will have to be careful.
Racism in football, or sports overall, is far too common. Insults shouted by fans can be very cruel and distracting. The FAIR Network, which combines organizations from 13 different European countries, is working on developing a strategy and common policy to fight against racism and xenophobia. Lise Berenbaum reports.
The age of the multicultural generation is gone. In 1998, France was united behind its national team, which won the World Cup that year. The multiracial team became a symbol for unity, which is now long forgotten. Football matches are often the place for racial slurs and attacks, as hooligans do not hesitate to insult the players while chanting in the stands. When regarding football racism, Italy is in the forefront, as black-skinned players are the first to suffer in the Serie A.
When I played football, there were spectators who used to make monkey noises. I used to say, don't stigmatize these people, they're not born racists. We have to ask the question why they became like that. Well, it's because of history and culture.
Italian midfielder Mario Balotelli is one player who frequently endures racism. Born in Palermo and coming from a Ghanaian descent, Balotelli is a regular target for fans who throw bananas at him during matches. Another example is Ivory Coast midfielder Yaya Toure, who was the victim of racist chants during a Champions League match between his team Manchester City and CSKA Moscow. The Euro 2012 was also marked by many incidents, as the Spanish, Russian, and Croatian federations were fined by UEFA for racist activities by their fans. In France, the uneasiness is deep. Laurent Blanc, current PSG manager, created controversy in 2011. Blanc, then manager of the French national team, declared himself in favor of a limited number of multinational players in the squad. However, he quickly retracted his words.
I want to apologize for the comments I made at this meeting. It is true that the meeting went wrong, but I think the most important thing is to prepare well for the future.
Despite Blanc's apology, subsequent reactions have revealed deep fracture lines in French society.
This is racism, because on the French team, all you have is blacks and Arabs.
If you take away blacks and Arabs, the team will be finished.
The best players have always been blacks or Arabs, except Platini, Cantona, and those other guys.
For the football governing institutions, this is an unacceptable situation. UEFA President Michel Platini is one person who often denounces discriminatory attitudes.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, no discrimination, whether it's racial, cultural, religious, sexist, or homophobic, is outside the realm of evil.
UEFA has even set up an advertising campaign to fight against the phenomenon. Football superstars like Leo Messi, Frank Ribéry, and Cristiano Ronaldo have all responded to the call to stop the evil which is decaying the football world. Maybe campaigns like these will prevent ugly incidents in the future, but there's a long way to go before racism will be kicked out of football.
And on to some Tuesday night action in the NBA with Western Conference showdowns between playoff-bound teams. The Houston Rockets took on the Thunder in Oklahoma City. The game was close for most of the first two quarters, with the two exchanging baskets. But by halftime, Oklahoma City found its stride. Russell Westbrook over Patrick Beverley to increase the lead to 17. He had 24 points, but the Rockets wouldn't go away quietly. Superman Dwight Howard with a dunk. They would trim the lead to 5 points in the fourth quarter before ultimately losing 106-98. Kevin Durant, in what seems to have become the norm, scored 42 points, while former teammate turned Rocket James Harden put up 28 with 9 assists. And the Dallas Mavericks taking on the Golden State Warriors in Oakland, and it turned out to be an easy victory for the Warriors with hot hands and a touch of luck. Jordan Crawford put up 19 points for Golden State, and big man Andrew Bogut was nearly unstoppable with 15 points and 10 rebounds on the night, and a flash of showtime in the Bay Area. Monte Ellis put up 15 points, and Dirk Nowitzki added 12 more for the Mavericks in what was a disappointing loss for Dallas. The Warriors are on a tear since the All-Star break, winning 10 of 12 games and 5 in a row, and moving on up in the Western Conference standings. They have a date with the Clippers tonight, and another win will close the gap between these top two Pacific teams. Tennis time now as we head for the men's third round at Indian Wells. Two-time winner Novak Djokovic had a tough time against Alejandro Gonzalez. Djoko did win the first set with an easy 6-1, but the unseeded Gonzalez came back, winning the second set 6-3. However, Djokovic bounced back, winning the third set 6-1, and will face Martin Cilic in the fourth round. Cilic had a much easier match against Spain's Tommy Robredo. Cilic didn't have any bumps on his road as he advances after a straight set win 6-4, 6-3. Cilic versus Djoko definitely seems like a match to look forward to. And another match, but with a lot more action, Spain's Fernando Verdasco had a battle versus Frenchman Richard Gasquet. Verdasco was down in the first set, but he prevailed, winning in a tiebreak. The second set was actually a real walk in the park. Verdasco upset Gasquet in straight sets 7-6, 6-1, and will face John Isner in the fourth round. And more action from Indian Wells as two former number ones faced off in the fourth round of the women's. World number 8 Jelena Jankovic had the edge over Caroline Wozniacki as she was cruising her way to victory. However, the current world number 11 would not lose without a fight. It might have been a match point for Jankovic, but Wozniacki dragged her for a long rally. Eventually, the Dane broke down, sending the ball out. Jankovic wins the straight set 6-3, 6-1 and advances to the quarterfinals, where her next rival will be Agnika Radwanska. Radwanska, the world number 3, had a tough first set against France's Alizé Cornet, but the second set was a lot easier. Cornet was no match for Radwanska as the Pole wins in straight sets 7-5, 6-3. And the northeast of the United States has been plagued by a winter overloaded with snowstorms and colder than usual temperatures. Many residents of the greater New York area are complaining about the weather and remain huddled up in their homes with blankets and hot chocolate. But not everyone is suffering, and rare 19th century ice boats are making a reappearance.
In the grip of one of their snowiest ever winters, New York City residents have been grumbling about the cold. But 100 miles up the Hudson River, locals are thrilled. It's a chance to take out their ice boats.
There was 2 feet of snow on this ice, probably 3 weeks ago. And then it melted down, we had a warm spell, and then it refroze. So now there's over a foot of ice here, and you can't ask for better conditions.
Ice boats were developed over 100 years ago. In winter, the Hudson was effectively closed for navigation, so boatmen turned to the ice. In the 1850s and 60s, the boats started to show real potential for speed, so the boatmen started to race each other. But due to rising temperatures, boaties find fewer and fewer opportunities to get on the ice these days.
It's a very discouraging sport. You only find real die-hard enthusiasts. You'll never find anybody who's planning anything. The boats sit in barns. There's boats here I have never seen before. They're coming out of the woodwork and out of the barns. It's just wonderful.
Ice boats were built for speed and were once considered the fastest machines on Earth.
There's even the steam locomotives that ran from New York out to Chicago. The express trains only went about 35 or 45 miles per hour. So it was quite a deal when an ice boat could pass an express train, and that was not uncommon on the Hudson.
Nowadays, the Coast Guard sends icebreakers so that huge freighters can continue business as usual. But for the locals enjoying the ice while they can, it's a rare opportunity to indulge in their hobby.
Now it's time to take a tour around the world with some conventional sporting events, others not so much. Here we go. Starting off in Snowbird, Utah, the Free Ride World Tour's fourth stop. American Lars Chickering-Ayers, who is a regular at snowboard, won his skiing category with a perfectly controlled 360 in gigantic air. Chickering-Ayers said he chose a more challenging path with less snow, and it paid off for him. Swiss Jeremy Heitz took second place. On to Birmingham, Malaysian Lee Chong-wei regained the All-England badminton title, winning it for the third time and avenging last year's loss to Chinese Chen Wang. And it may be a sweet farewell for the 31-year-old world number 1, who after hoisting the trophy said he may not return next year. Moving to Italy in the Strade Bianche one-day race. The 200-kilometer contest spanned from Gaiole in Chianti to Siena and included sprints through dusty gravel and city streets. Polish Michael Kwiatkowski sprang ahead in the final kilometer, and he got to seal his victory with a double kiss. Snowboarding in Switzerland, Canadian Dominique Martais, who won the silver medal in the snowboard cross just a short while ago at the Sochi Winter Olympics, won the penultimate World Cup race, her fourth straight overall title and the fifth of her career. The 33-year-old has more than a comfortable lead over second standing Iva Samkova. And last but not least, defending world champion Toni Kaioli seized the spotlight at the Monster Energy MX GP World Championship in Thailand. Riders in the second round had to deal with humidity and temperatures soaring over 40 degrees Celsius in the sun. But that didn't stop the Italian from crossing the finish in 34 minutes and 26.3 seconds. And we'll finish today's show with a new record in sled dog racing. The 42nd annual Iditarod sled dog race in Alaska was the set for a new record to be broken, as Dallas Seavey won his second race in 3 years, unseating his father as defending champion while breaking the race's 3-year-old record. The 26-year-old Seavey and his canine team finished the 1,000-mile race through the Alaskan tundra and into the coastal community of Nome in 8 days, 13 hours, 4 minutes, and 19 seconds. Seavey takes home the winner's share of prize money exceeding $650,000 and a new Chrysler Ram truck. And that's it for us today. Thank you for being with us. Don't forget you can watch us anytime on our website, i24news.tv, and we're also on Facebook and Twitter. Have a wonderful evening and join us again tomorrow.